Everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my What If custom minifigure showcase. This video is long overdue, but here we have almost all of my custom LEGO Marvel What If characters. Here we have the Guardians of the Multiverse, plus the Watcher, and I'm also including Killmonger here because he was technically part of the team before, turned rogue and tried to kill everyone and, conquer the multiverse. I also have a special figure who you'll see at the very end. I think you guys probably have a good guess at who he is, considering there's one major character missing here. But disclaimer, real quick before we get into each of these characters, the TChalla figure, the Captain Carter minifigure, and Thanosamora minus her sword are not customs. Those are the CMF versions of the character, and the Watcher is also pretty much just the version that appeared in the set. So the only technically custom characters are going to be my Killmonger, my Black Widow, my Strange Supreme, and my Party Thor, along with that mystery final character. But altogether, the Guardians of the Multiverse look amazing. I absolutely adore the lineup here, and we're going to get on in. I'm going to show you each of my custom figures, give you a little insight in how you can make them for yourself, and then we'll bounce back for that mystery figure and, of course, the final verdict. The first two characters are going to be the only two that I did not make any improvements upon whatsoever. I think that from the CMF series, Captain Carter and T'Challa as Star-Lord are perfect. There's literally nothing I could do to make either of these characters any better at all, and I'm just absolutely in love with the new molds and prints and everything that I would decide to make. Here's a look at the back as well for those printing, and yeah, these characters remained unchanged. There's no way I could improve them. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section down below, but aside from maybe giving Captain Carter the stealth suit, which I don't own, I don't think there's any other way to make these figures look any better than they already do. Thanosamora is the only other minifigure that I made absolutely no improvements upon. The only difference with her is that I altered her weapon, as opposed to the pretty crappy, honestly, weapon that she was given in the CMF series. I decided to upgrade her here using one of the hilt pieces from the Monkey Kid line, along with two of the Uruk-hai swords from Lord of the Rings. These swords can also be found in the new Black Panther Dragon Flyer, as well as one of the more recent Ninjago sets from the new video game wave. It was in the Villain's Dragon from that line. So if you wanted to get those swords, there's a bunch of different sets they appeared in, but I think that looks much better than the build that LEGO actually did give her, especially because the swords are curved here, and that's more accurate to what we see. And also, it's really nice to have this hilt here as opposed to the lightsaber one, because it looks even, not uneven like the lightsaber is. The rest of the minifigure remains unchanged. I don't think it's possible to improve this minifigure. The hair and face are completely custom for Gamora, as is all the printing and everything. And even if you had like the actual Thanos armor from the new Sanctuary 2 ship, I don't think it works better than what we have here. And this is like a perfect figure. Alright, so the Watcher here is my least favorite character in my CMF series, simply because I'm not a fan of his leg piece. So this is the exact Watcher from the LEGO set, the Sakaar and Hulkbuster. I considered giving him some armor to upgrade him to the gold version, but ultimately decided against it, because he only ever appeared that way very briefly, and for the most part we see him like this. Now, my problem with that LEGO figure was they gave him blue legs, where he has some kind of like dress cloak kind of thing going on in the episodes and everything, so there is no blue dress piece that has no printing that I could find in my collection. So what I did is I gave him Anna's from the CMF series, the Disney Series 2. Now, arguably, the best way to do this would be to use the eraser method to get rid of the printing on that dress. However, because I only have one copy of the Anna figure, I don't want to ruin it. So just imagine, if you could, that there's no printing on that dress piece, and then that would be my perfect version of the Watcher. And maybe someday I'll order a second copy of Anna and actually permanently make this the Watcher's piece by removing the printing. But for now, this is my version of the Watcher. I figure start off with a bang. Here is my favorite of my custom characters, Strange Supreme. We're actually going to be seeing this guy in the new Doctor Strange movie, theoretically, so I'm really excited for that. His accessory, I don't know if anyone else has done this before, but this is my, to the best of my knowledge, my own custom design. I took the runic pieces that he had from the first Doctor Strange set, because those are the only time we ever got something printed for Doctor Strange, and then I just attached those to some of the Power Blast pieces that come in pretty much every superhero set now, and then he's just holding those. I tried experimenting with having him hold them on some of the Power Blast pieces, the clear jumper pads that they give superheroes, but it looked too awkward and they stuck too far out, so I ultimately decided that holding them was much better, and I love the way that looks. But you can pull those accessories away pretty easily, and then that gives you a look at the rest of the figure. Now, I did play around with using the new Doctor Strange torso from the Garganto set, because it did have the comic accurate and show accurate kind of like dragon symbol that he had there, but ultimately decided against it because I wasn't a fan of the coloring. The metal around his neck is actually from one of the collectible minifigure series. It's just the traditional red and gold metal. However, I used some Sharpie to color the strap darker, I used brown, I believe, but it didn't turn out the best. And then I ended up doing green little dot there to make the Eye of Agamotto. The torso print underneath is actually Wong's from the new Gargento set. I like that because it has splashes of purple, which the Strange Supreme kind of used as his color. The legs here are actually from another Wong minifigure, this time from the Bricktober pack. If you don't have that, which most people probably don't, because that was pretty rare, you could use any other leg piece from any other Doctor Strange or Wong. They all look pretty good. This one, in my opinion, just looked the best. And then originally, I used a completely different face. I had this face being from Zod from the Superman sets. Now, this one doesn't look the best, but what I really loved is on the other side, with the facial hair and the red eyes there, that looked exactly like evil Doctor Strange when he was casting spells and everything, and that was perfect. However, I ultimately decided to scrap that once I saw the new set from No Way Home and Gargantos, because this Doctor Strange face looks great. It's different enough from the original Doctor Strange face, which I still use for my Doctor Strange figure, and this one, his eyebrows are furrowed, he looks angry and upset, and this kind of gives a more evil vibe, especially when you compare it with the other Doctor Strange, so I think that facial print is the best. His hairpiece is actually from Jacob Kowalski from the LEGO Harry Potter, technically Fantastic Beasts line. You could still use the traditional Doctor Strange piece if you want. However, I just think that based on the coloring from the episode and everything, his hair wasn't black, it was more of this brown color, and it also helped set him apart from the original Doctor Strange minifigure. The only other parts of this figure are going to be his capes. Now, his cape, I spent a while trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I ultimately decided on using the Evil Wizard's cape from, I believe it was series 13 of the collectible minifigure series. It was whatever came with the Snake Charmer as well, and it was like the green series. And then the top part of his cape is from series, I believe 8, it was the black series, and this cape piece in particular is from the evil alien lady. She had a purple cape bottom and top, although I just think the evil wizard cape is larger and kind of fits the Doctor Strange character. I really wish I could have this cape in either purple or this cape in maroon, and then it would match better, but I think, honestly, the transition from maroon to black to purple there works really well for the Doctor Strange figure, and evil Doctor Strange here, probably my favorite custom minifigure. Next up, we have Party Thor, probably my least favorite character from the TV show. I was not the biggest fan of his episode, but the minifigure here looks reasonably well. He has Mjolnir as his accessory, or technically Jonathan, I guess you could say, or Mew Mew. And, I mean, I don't really know what else I'd give him. I really considered doing some inking on his arm and giving him his science tattoo, or trading out his arm for a different printed arm, but I couldn't find anyone with a tattoo on the right side. I considered Lightning Lad from that recent Target exclusive cube. However, that would have put the tattoo on this arm, and it wouldn't have looked quite right because it's supposed to be the other one. But, you know, I think you can excuse the absence of a tattoo. The minifigure used is Luke Skywalker's hairpiece, although I actually got mine from the Rockstar, the keyboard guy from a recent collectible minifigure series. I believe it was series 20, and it just works super, super well for him there. His facial print is actually Superman's, and as I pull off the hairpiece in the back here, you can see he's got the glowing red eyes there. Not a facial print I'd recommend for him. I like this side much better, because it's got the cheekbones for Chris Hemsworth, and then, you know, big smile, kind of goofy looking, but it doesn't have any beard stubble, because this version of Thor did not grow a beard. And then for his torso, this one was the most difficult minifigure for me to make. I eventually decided on using an Outrider torso, and then just exchanging the arms for any kind of bare arms. Thor came with these several times. A bunch of other characters have. I don't remember exactly which minifigure I pulled them from, but a bunch of characters had that. And then for the leg piece, I actually used part of an Iron Man suit. The black Iron Man suit, I believe it was called the Bones armor, from the Iron Man Hall of Armor. It looks a little techy, but it's got black legs with gold decaling, which was actually surprisingly hard to find. I only found one other instance of it, which I used for a later figure in this series. And I think it works reasonably well, and the connection from the Outrider torso to the legs, it's not flawless, but it doesn't look too bad either. And then I just gave him a traditional red spongy cape. I got this from a bunch of my Thor minifigures, a bunch of other characters. The cape is probably the easiest part of this minifigure to find, besides, of course, the hands or the hammer. Not too much here for the Thor minifigure, but still a pretty good entry into the What If line. My second favorite minifigure has got to be this version of Black Widow. I'm just in love with this. So it took me a while to source all the parts for her, and I actually didn't even have the right arms until I found a very lucky LEGO Dimensions set at my local Marshall's. But for her accessories, first off, since she found Red Guardian shield and used that to some great effect in the show, I actually took the Red Guardian shield piece from the exclusive Comic-Con set. Now, I totally understand that most people will not have that, and they won't be able to give her a shield accessory, but since I had it, I thought it was way too good of an opportunity to pass up. And then her other accessory is Hawkeye's bow, because she took that up after he, spoiler alert, died. And I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to give that to her. Aside from her accessories, though, they have actually a surprising number of parts here from different characters. Her facial print is literally just the Black Widow face. I didn't change that at all. It's the version, I think the most recent version from the Avengers video games. Her hairpiece, I originally had just the normal Black Widow hairpiece in her normal orange color. And then I realized, wait, during the Incredibles 2 sets, there was a Brick character who had her hairpiece in this very nice dark red. And then when you look at the way she was drawn and everything in What If, it was actually a much darker red. And this hairpiece works flawlessly. She also had some kind of shoulder pads and everything, so I gave her an armor piece from one of the CMF series. I forget which character I pulled it from, but I know this has appeared in Ninjago several times as part of the Oni, as well as in one of the more recent robots from a CMF series, and a bunch of other places as well. It's not the hardest to grab, and really any armor piece will work. You just need something to kind of buff out her shoulders. Speaking of her shoulders, her arms I stole from Ethan Hunt from the LEGO Dimensions pack. It was the only instance of dual molded black and tan arms that I could find, and then I just gave her black gloves as well because she had gloves over her hands. Her torso print is actually from the Winter Soldier. Now, I toiled long and hard about this. I had the Batman from the LEGO Batman movie. Actually, no, sorry, from the LEGO movie 2. And then a ton of different torsos too. An old Hawkeye one, a bunch of different ones. But ultimately, based on her armor and everything, I decided to go with this version from the Winter Soldier. In my opinion, it works really well. And then I have a black belt piece as well for her. If I'm being honest, I completely forget where I got this from. I have no idea what set the black belt appears in. But, I mean, you could honestly take it away and she'd still be a great figure, and you could give it to her. I don't honestly remember what set the black belt came from. And then her legs is just going to be a Hawkeye from, I believe, 2012. You could really use no leg printing or any kind of any leg printing that has like decoration at all would work for her. You don't really get a good look at her legs, and honestly, anything that has that design will work. This is just what I chose to do, but there's ones with pockets, the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, literally any character who's had black legs with printing you can use for her, and it'll pretty much work great. This is one of my favorite minifigures, and I used so many different parts, and I think the end result was honestly truly spectacular. And the final Guardian of the Multiverse is going to be Killmonger. Now, Killmonger is one of my favorite characters. I loved him in Black Panther, and I loved him in this as well, even though he did end up turning evil and kind of destroying everyone. So his accessories are honestly 2 heads, which is kind of funny. The first one is going to be that Ultron head that he stole from Thor, and then ultimately used to kind of take the Infinity Stones. And then his other accessory is just his mask, and that's only because I wanted to give him a facial print as well. For his face, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I actually used the face that LEGO gave him. Way back when in the Black Panther sets, he came in the Royal Talon Fighter, Fighter, I forget what the name of that set was, and he had a little mask on underneath. This was the facial print they gave him. Doesn't really work all that great, but I didn't have anything better, so I just figured I'd do that. And then I used the Valkyrie or Taserface's hair kind of on the forward side to give him his haircut. Ideally, it'd be a lot shorter, and I know a couple other people I've seen customs kind of cut the hairpiece there, but I don't have a spare one of these, so we're going to have to deal with it being just a little longer. Now, aside from all that, I did do some upgrades to the Killmonger suit from the Black Panther sets. The first one, actually all of the upgrades, came from the brand new Inside Out Spider-Man suit from No Way Home. So it's in the set, the $20 set with Vulture. I used the arms because it's black arms with gold detailing, and I used the legs because it's black legs with gold detailing, and it matches up perfectly with the Killmonger suit. And it just kind of, I mean, you don't need to upgrade him. He was honestly fine on his own, but I think altogether it looks really, really great with all the gold detailing on every side. Let's put his mask on real quick. You can't tell me that doesn't look super, super intimidating and really cool, especially from this angle. You got arm printing, leg printing, like everything's printed there. So great. The only thing that's missing is printing on the crown, but LEGO only ever did that once and then never again. Not sure why they won't print on these pieces, but yeah, here's the Killmonger figure, technically a villain, but still one of the best members of the Guardians of the Multiverse. And the final character in my custom What If showcase is going to be Infinite Ultron. I loved this villain. It was so great to see Ultron finally able to shine, and this figure I had so much fun making. Now, ideally, he would be the light gray version, like the silver version. However, I don't have that Ultron figure in my collection, and I went to buy him off Bricklink. It was like $40, $50. I was like, no way am I spending that much? So I used the torso and the legs from the same Ultron that I used the head for Killmonger's accessories there, and that works reasonably well. I also had the bottom half of the mask attachment there to give him. Now, since I never got any of the other Age of Ultron sets, I never got a top attachment for Ultron. Ideally, you would use the helmet that slots into this place that I believe came in one of the Sentry sets, the cheapest set of the wave. It's like the Ultron battle pack of the wave, and then I believe in some other sets as well. I never got that, so what I ended up doing is I took one of the AIM agent helmets and just used a pair of really sharp meat cutting scissors to cut the helmet to fit Ultron. It's not the cleanest. You can see it looks different on each side. I guess I cut off more on that side, but when you're looking at them from the front, it does work in this angle. And underneath, I just have the regular Vision's head. This is the one from Infinity War, not from Civil War, because it has the correct color gem, and also I never got that version of Ultron because I never got the Civil War sets. And you can cover that up, and I just, drew on it with, I figured I already cut it, so I just drew on it with Sharpie to give him the 4 eyes. And then this armor piece is actually from the Space Police man from the newest, well, not newest anymore, but one of the more recent CMF series, and the armor piece just worked so well for him. The cups in the back don't really work, but it was like a bigger, bulky chest, and I just designed all the Infinity Stones there with some Sharpies. And then his accessory is this very nice double-bladed sword, and then I just kind of pulled some pieces. I believe the tooth I got from Chima, this tooth I got from the Thanosamora blade, and then I just found the lightsaber hilt and the cone in my collection, and then I took an extra cape from my Thor minifigure and gave it there to make his cape. And I think this minifigure turned out fantastic. I would definitely love to replace the helmet with the actual version at some point. I'll have to see about purchasing that off Bricklink, but for now, this is my Ultimate Ultron figure, and I love the way he turned out. And with the final Ultimate Ultron figure out of the way, that concludes my custom What If minifigure series. Now, I do know that there's a lot of characters I'm missing, as I only wanted to do the Guardians of the Multiverse and the main antagonist here, and I didn't do any of the individual side characters or anything from each of the episodes. And I also know that this video is rather long overdue. However, I'm incredibly happy and satisfied with the lineup here. I think all of them represent the best of my custom minifigure abilities, and they, in my opinion, are incredibly accurate to their on-screen counterparts. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, though. Please let me know what you think of each and every one of these characters. Are they awful? Did I do them great? Do you have any suggestions for how I could improve them? I would absolutely love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of this and who your favorite character was in the comment section down below. Also, be sure to let me know what your favorite episode was. For me, that's probably tied between What If Ultron won and the What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands. Those were two of my favorite episodes, and I cannot wait to see each and every one of these characters again in the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie. I know not all of them are going to be appearing, but hey, at least a couple of them might be, so I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic and safe rest of your day, and I'll be sure to catch you all in the very next video.